Hey everybody, this is a very quick explanation of texture mapping in Blender. So to start off, we'll first start with everything in the default setup, the way that Blender normally starts up. So what we're going to do first is just apply a texture to every face of this cube. And to do that, I'm going to go up here to the upper right of the viewport and move it over a little bit so we've got it split into two screens. And we're going to go to the right screen, and down at the bottom and a little bit to the left there's a little cube there, and we want to click on that and select UV Image Editor, and that's where we're going to put our texture. So we can go ahead and put a texture in there right now. So I'll select Open, and underneath here you can click this button right here. It shows thumbnails if you want to see the thumbnails. And if you've already found an image or a directory that you want, you can bookmark it, and you can also look at the recent images. You can also collapse these expandable menus. And so, for example, I'm going to go to my backgrounds, and I'm just going to select an image that's easy to see. That you wouldn't normally do this perhaps in your projects, but I'm just going to click one that's easy to see. So I double click on that, and you can see there's my image. So what I'm going to do here is on the left hand side I'm going to select Edit Mode, and I'm going to press U and select Unwrap. So now what that does is that applies this texture to the entire cube. Now, as I zoom in here, I don't see the texture, and the reason is down here I have to set it to texture mode. So these are the viewport shadings, the different kinds that you can have. So I'm going to select texture, and when I do that, now I can see the texture has been applied to the face of the cube. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this other window by going up into the upper right hand corner of the left hand window and dragging it a little bit to the right and let go, and it will make the other window disappear. So now I can see that, but now if you notice, if I rotate around, some of these faces are black. So let me go to the object mode, and I'll click off of that, and you can see that these faces are black, and so, oh, the textures aren't working, you think. But if we actually look at what this really is about, it's really about the light. And so if we look and see, the light is really only shining on those faces there. So if I take the light and I drag it over to the right, now we can see, let me drag this light here, we can see how it, maybe make this a little bit easier to view. Let me pan over, and you can see as I drag this light around, it affects what happens on the cube. Now I can also do something else. So if that light is on the other side but I want this texture to show up, what I can do is I can select that face, and the way that I do that is go to Edit Mode, one thing to show you, if I have the light selected, I can't select Edit Mode, so I need to either I need to select the object, and now I can go to Edit Mode. So in Edit Mode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on this menu down here, I'm going to select the face selection. So I can now click on a face. So I'm going to select this one face, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Shading, UVs, and I'm going to go to Normals, underneath Shading, and click on Flip Direction. And so now I can see that. And so what has happened is the normal has flipped. What a normal is it's the line that's perpendicular to the surface. So what this is saying is now the normal is actually facing the light, and so that's why it's showing up. And so I could then click on the other surface and do the same thing, and then click on this other face and flip the direction. So now the texture will show up no matter where I'm looking at that cube. And you can also apply different textures to the face. And so to show you that, let me go ahead and go back to our UV editor. And now what I'm going to do is open. I could click on the open folder, or I can select the image here, and I'm going to open an image and just pick anything. I'm just going to pick any image. And so now you see that the texture has applied to the cube a different image there. And one other thing that I'll show you in the UV editor, if I click, notice that we've got a bounding rectangle here. And so if I click on that and drag it, let's just try to get that volcano. And so I click, drag, and then click again, click, move, click again, click, drag, click again. And so now you see that the volcano has been mapped here. So you can use that bounding rectangle to select a portion of the image that you're going to map. Now, this is just the very basics of texture mapping, and I just wanted to show that very quickly. Hope that was helpful.